Hi everyone, welcome on board to CR1EĐ, where you get the reliable news that is tailored for you, and of course where you can actually comment and interact.
Recently, Professor Osinbajo called onto Nigerians, and you would have wondered why. He said Nigerians need to come up with a national debate about how to reduce the size of government in the country. I think this man is speaking for the first time. The size of government needs to be reduced. There are redundant and some agencies that are not supposed to exist. In fact, we are not supposed to even have the Senate. He said it was practically impossible for the government to carry out the exercise on its own. According to the vice president, maintaining that current size of government in Nigeria is costly to sustain. And I think the best thing for him to have said is, Nigeria, let's break apart. The country is too big with the structure, with the constitution, and the way things are, with the political cultural practices that we have. For us to govern and to run this nation this way is impossible. Let us break the country apart. During a webinar organized by Emmanuel Chapel, Osinbajo said cutting the size and cost of governance in the country is something that needs to be done. Responding to raised question from the deposed Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi, Sanusi had asked the vice president what the new regime should do differently to fix the country's persistent problem of high cost of governance. He said, I don't want to be disrespectful, but the annual sales of Tesla exceed the budget size of our country. So should we not begin to cut our code according to our cloth? Should we not begin to look at all these costs and constitution itself? Maybe turn the legislators to part-time lawmakers, having a unicameral legislator instead of a bicameral. Have the local government run by employees of the Ministry of Local Government Affairs. We just need to think out of the box to reduce structural cost and make government sustainable over the long term. This is very important. As you can see, they're beginning to see that things are not working. Things are not working at all. I was hoping that Osinbajo would speak. I was hoping that Osinbajo would have spoken all of this while, because I see him as a professor, a man that is learned, a man that said is a pastor. And now let's leave the pastor. Let's talk about even the knowledge he has. Anyone can be whatever they want, but I'm talking about a man that has something upstairs. Now, he talked about the unicameral system is a kind of government with one legislative body. That is all we need. But do you know what we have in Nigeria? We have a bicameral system where we have in the state, we'll have some legislators. When you come to the federal, we have the green chamber, we have the red chamber. What is going on here? All of these chambers spend so much money. They decide the amount of money that should be given to them. So the question is this: should Nigeria break apart, or should we resort to a unicameral system, cut down the amount of salary that many of these lawmaker, let's say we have one lawmaker in the state, cut down the expenses, and also the executive cut down the amount of money. The local government, Ministry of Local Government Affairs, work there. And also the legislators work part-time. That's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. But unfortunately, that is not the case. So he says, so I think there is a need for a national debate on this question, and there is a need for us to ensure that we are not wasting the kind of resources that we ought to use for development on overheads. At the moment, our overheads are almost 70% of revenue. There is no question at all that we must reduce the size of government. Part of what you will see in the economic sustainability plan also, and several of the other initiatives, is trying to go to some extent to what was recommended in the STEVE, Steve Oronsaye report, to collapse a few of the agencies to become a bit more efficient and make government much more efficient with whatever it is. So I tell you, this is redundant what they are doing right now. They are running a redundant government, and it has been there for a long time. Now, aside this, there's still something else that people are not aware of: the security vote. The security vote is an amount of money that is given to state government, and this money is not coordinated. There is nowhere, it is not even transparent at all. They do whatever they like with that money. That's just what it is. Each governor, and this money runs into billions of naira. They do whatever they want with that money, yet people are crying. People are talking about the lack of security. That money is for security, and that money is not spent for security. So when you look at all of this, you want to kind of wonder what's going on. So in reaction to this, some people have asked Professor Osinbajo to kind of take lectures from Peter Obi, and they said he should go and take lectures from him. But I don't think taking lectures from Peter Obi is the answer to this. This man is a man that is intelligent. This is a man that has a lot of things upstairs. Like I said, he knows the way out of a lot of things, but unfortunately, his hands are tied down. This is a man that is divided between being a person that is obedient or someone that will not bail out on his boss and someone that should do the right thing. And for me, I think in this situation, of course, maybe he doesn't want Jubril al-Sudani or Buhari to fail, but in this situation, I think he should do what is right. He should do the truth, the reality. He should do what his conscience tells him, and that conscience has to be checked into. I'm not just talking of just one conscience there that you just pick up from the ground. I'm talking of him doing the right thing, because the future is there. A lot of things are going to be kind of written about him also as a person that kept quiet in a regime that is hurting the people, a regime that is counterproductive. It is true. The cost of governance in Nigeria, one, that is how they steal money. They make sure that everything is so complex so as to steal money. There are agencies that should never have existed. There are certain, the work ethics and the cultural, in fact, the stratosphere, the atmosphere of everything in Nigeria, the politics. I'm not talking of the weather now. I'm not talking of the physical. I'm talking about the structure of politics, the constitution, and a lot of things needs to be abrogated. Something new needs to be created. And that's what they call restructuring. But I am not a supporter of restructuring at all. What he's talking about is restructuring. Restructuring a lot of things. If you sit down with learned people such as VP Osinbajo, and you sit down with some other people that are not people that know the truth, but they want to bend the truth. If you sit down with them and they break down the complexity of Nigeria to you, you will realize that the solution of Nigeria is not far-fetched. It's something that can be done within a month. But these people, they are hell-bent. They call them the cabals. They are hell-bent on making sure that nothing works in Nigeria. These are people that are knowledgeable of how things work. They know how the engine works. And they've decided to make sure that they dip their hands, they dip the spanner in every nook and cranny of the system to make sure that nothing works in Nigeria. So when a lot of young people and some other people looked at everything happening, they said, look, for us to be able to restructure the country, for example, for what he said, for us to be able to do all of these things, to downsize government, reduce government, cut some amount of money that are being paid out to some people, bring some of the lawmakers and, reduce them to part-time workers. They can do some other jobs rather than full-time and spending their time in the Senate doing nothing and passing some bills that are not even, applicable or even productive, counterproductive bills. If all of these things that they are saying, which is restructuring, if all of these things could be done and would have made things work, well, maybe to some people it would have been better. But I think younger people have looked at all the complexity and how difficult these things would be to get these things right because of the people that are ready to make sure that none of these things work. They said the solution is a break of the country. Let us break the country. When we have a new nation, then we can start all over. Let us start afresh to begin to bring in constitution that empowers the people. Let us begin to create a system where politics is no longer a do or die affair. Let us begin to create a government that is for the people and by the people. Let us begin to create a structure where progress is what should be looked. It should be what everyone should embrace. Let us create a structure where anyone who goes against the rules, notwithstanding your religion, affiliation, your ethnicity, or whatever, such person will be made to face the law. That is what people are calling for at the moment, and nothing more. So Professor Osinbajo, he has a lot of things to offer Nigeria, but unfortunately, this cannot be done as no one is interested in Nigeria no more. This is a man. Just look at the way he answered the question that Muhammadu Sanusi, the deposed emir, threw at him. He talked about reducing and also talking about the annual sales of Tesla. exceed the budget size of our country. This is a country that has crude oil. I don't want to agree that the annual sales of Tesla exceeds the budget size of our country. Well, let's say it exceeds the budget size of our country. Truly, it does. But let us look at the resources and the amount of money that is made in Nigeria every year. If there is no leakage, if there is no stealing, it exceeds Tesla and it exceeds some countries in Europe. But unfortunately, they keep stealing and keep borrowing. That is why the issue of the annual sales of Tesla exceeds the budget size of our country. If there is no stealing, if all the holes are being blocked, if they are not stealing, collecting money from the front door and stealing from the back door like this regime, I don't think there will be any issue with the budget. There will be no issue with borrowing of money. There will be no issue as regards all of this. And of course, like you said, we would have had a unicameral system rather than this bicameral system that we have. So much bogus, so much redundant agencies here and there. These things are stifling the growth of the nation. And of course, to them, it's a good thing because it is filling up their own pockets.
I say a very big thank you to those who have taken time to subscribe to this channel. And if you're yet to subscribe, kindly tap on that subscription button and also the red bell icon so you will be notified whenever videos such as this are uploaded.